The thing I like best about my language classes as well as the professors is that it definitely gives you an opportunity to be creative in your projects and what you want to research, and I really feel like it opens up the perspective for those things.
It was something where we weren't just supposed to do work inside that class, but also outside of it. And that it almost wasn't as much for the grade as much as ultimately it's for yourself, like to learn to speak the language and to understand it. The class really doesn't feel like it's for a grade, more it's for you.
The thing that I like most about my professors and our classes is the diversity and sense of community. I've always felt welcome, and we have a lot of fun at our events, and I just really like the feeling of inclusion.
The thing I like best about my language classes is just how interactive they are. The professors work super hard to help us with activities that bring the students together, and we get to meet each other and just really discuss the material in detail, and it's just really a rewarding experience to get to meet our professors and then go even deeper in that classroom time.
My favorite part about the class is we're always learning something, and I don't get a heavy workload ever, so I feel like it's a really fun environment to work in.
What I like best is that they truly care about us learning and that we understand the material, and they also create just a welcoming environment for questions. Even if we go on a tangent and kind of relate to like real life, it still comes back to the material, so it really just makes us comfortable just to ask questions throughout class.
The thing I like best about my language classes is that I get an opportunity to see a perspective that somebody else in the world has.
Especially with my class, I feel like he's always trying to teach us things that are relevant to our own lives. So to our hobbies and like what we do outside of school, and make sure that we know how to describe those and talk about them.
I like the diversity of material, like it could be printed material, movies, music, good discussions that we have, and even trivia sometimes.
The thing I love most about my Spanish class is that it is just the most welcoming experience I have ever been a part of.
I think what I like best is that my professor encourages professional and academic growth, and he's really helped me do that and like get me out of my comfort zone.
I think my favorite feature of language classes here on campus is the way we interact with the culture. We learn about the different facets and like the things that are actually going on.
My professor, Dr. Zapata, she's very unique because in her Spanish class, she always finds ways for us to use reading, writing, and speaking. We do a lot of speaking in the class, but also, like I said, she'll also find ways to do reading and writing. So we've read poems in Spanish, we've read short biographies in Spanish, and it may seem intimidating, but she'll break it down sentence by sentence to make sure we all understand what's happening.
The cultural integration was really unique. I didn't really have that in some of the other French courses I took, like in high school.
We're very active, so we're not just like sitting there and doing like worksheets. We go on the board and we'll write answers, and we're just moving around the class.
So I entered French at the 1000 level and Spanish I tested in at the 2000 level. And both classes were already, when I entered, at different levels being taught in that language. So I feel like there's an emphasis on immersion, and with the classes being taught in Spanish and in French, I feel that we're not just learning when we're doing our activities, but when we're, conversing with classmates or professors too.
One thing I think is unique about my language classes and professors is that they all teach in very different ways, though they all have interactive aspects of the class, since that's what helps you learn language the best. But the thing that I think is the most unique is that each individual professor has their own experiences with language. For example, my freshman year I had Elizabeth Solis for my Spanish 1001 class, and she told us about how she had to learn Spanish herself because she spoke a lot of Spanglish, and I thought that was incredibly connecting with the class.
Being a senior as a German major, I've taken Dr. Tvehaza for at least 6 or 7 classes now, and since he's the only in-person German professor I've had, I get familiar with his teaching style and what to expect in his class. So having the ability to just kind of get comfortable with one professor has been really beneficial and makes ILC classes stand out for me.
Other classes we just sit, and the professor teaches and we leave. But it was more interactive, the other classes more engaging.
I took Spanish in high school, but the most I guess the real difference here is that
we speak more in Spanish here, and we delve more into the culture of it, which I really enjoy. Like we've talked about seeing Años of Soledad, and like just different parts of the culture, which I really enjoy, which I really love studying cultures. So that part of it has been really fun to learn about.
We are ILC.
We are ILC.
Nous sommes ILC. We are ILC.
Nous sommes and wir sind ILC.
We are ILC.
Somos ILC.
We are ILC.
Wir sind ILC.
We are ILC.
Somos ILC.